Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm Professor Spira, and it is a lovely day here in Ohio. We don't get to say that too often. But I'm up here. Just went for a little walk. I'm actually fasting. I've been fasting the past couple days, juice fasting. The grapes go on sale, and so I like to stock up on grapes and get to juicing and relax a little bit, clear my mind. Just look inward as much as possible. And you can see here we got a little lake over here. This is right behind my behind where I live. It's pretty much my backyard. It's part of a complex that's like behind my house, and we got this whole park area. I mean, just from here I could walk way up that way, and there's a bunch of woods and a park just up that just up the road a little bit. Bike trail that goes about 10 miles up and down over there. Some some really nice parks, and to me that's really the best thing about Cincinnati, and one of the great things I think about the United States is the park system and the library system. And that's the one, I got a lot of criticisms that I could fill up hours and hours of videos about the United States and the whole pus-filled government system and just the value system, just all that. I could talk all day about that, but if I'm gonna be positive, the two things that I think is probably the best things about the country is the park system and the library system, and especially the library system. I mean, but of course it's two things that few people find value in. And I say few comparatively, because as many people as there is in like the city I live in, the parks are just totally unutilized. I mean, there's hundreds of people that live right to the left of me, just right over there, but I'm the only one in this little green area, and that shows you something. That's the value system. So we can have all kinds of nice things, but people, they'd rather be cooped up in their little however big the apartments are, cooped up and watching a little screen, when you be out here, the sun is beautiful. I'd rather just watch some birds. Ducks come over here sometimes. There's a couple other like these big birds that I don't even know the name of that hang out over here. To me, that's better than sitting and cooped up in a little room, and unless you're getting some work done. I do sit a lot in sort of cooped up, but I'm getting work done, whether it be Mucusless Diet promotion work or music work or whatever. But whenever possible, I come outside and do what I can do out here. But the past couple weeks been interesting. Really, the past couple months, I graduated May 8th. Finally finished my PhD work, and so walked, and that was that was a trip. Just that whole process, just graduation, and the money it costs to get certain. You got to get your vestments and your outfit and the hat and all that kind of stuff, and then you just go through this whole process. It's like the ritual. It's this ritual process. Just the going and crossing over the line. Where a lot of different cultures around the world have various traditions. That represent a coming of age, and a transformation of person and of character that's like symbolic, that's built into the ritual. A lot of people don't think about it like that. Whether you're talking about a graduation or a marriage or whatever, there's sort of this conceptual framework that was developed, within the context of the society. I got a little bit of this fast, but I got a little mucus that has been kind of secreting, because I've known that I have some, and I got some issues with my lungs and my throat. And again, everybody's gonna be, oh, well, you've been practicing for 13, 14 years and you still have mucus. Yes, and you will too, and Brother Air does, and everybody. We have these issues that are deeper than you could ever imagine. We are sicker than you could ever imagine. Like, imagine as the sickest of the sick in your head, and then that's a portion of what we have done to ourselves and what we have to look forward to as we try to pay reparations. And that's one of the things that I promote, is that we have to look in the mirror and be very honest with ourselves, and allow ourselves to go through the process. 1 out of every 100 people might be in a physiological situation where they don't go through traumatic eliminations and falls and all that kind of stuff. I've really only met one person, and I still haven't met him in person, but someone on the forum that got started early enough and didn't come from a really terrible diet, where they were able to, I think, kind of get into the diet and solidify a path without a whole lot of elimination. But if you live in the United States or a Western society, I mean, if you got a computer, like if your society is developed enough where you got a computer and you're just not eating the mangoes on the trees outside, then it's a good chance that you're going to go through some pretty interesting eliminations at some point. And mine is, for years I had those chest issues where every year I'd have bronchitis. And when I got into the diet, a lot of my head drained, a lot of mucus and all kinds of stuff was eliminating all over the place. But I never really had a whole lot of chest eliminations. And so I predicted that sooner or later, at some point in my transition, I'm going to have some pretty intensive kind of lung eliminations, expectoration, and where at some point my body's going to get to that. Because there's a body intelligence, and there's different people have theories about the order that the body goes in and that kind of stuff, and I don't really, it seems just unique for each person and each person's body, but your body sort of has an order of what it wants to go through to heal and eliminate. And sometimes you just have to kind of you can't really always dictate the order, where a lot of people, they're concerned about the cosmetic stuff. And so they'll, I got pimples on my face, I want to get that, I want to work on that, or, oh man, my skin and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oftentimes that is some of the earliest stuff that is healed, but sometimes it's not, and sometimes the body is trying to heal you of a heart condition, or maybe the lungs is first with you. It's like the lungs is last for me for some reason. But that's an area that needs a lot more study, research to really kind of understand it better. But some people say, well, the weakest stuff is dealt with first. Other people say, well, the weakest stuff is, and the most chronic stuff is dealt with last. It's, I don't know. It all we can do really is just know as much about our weaknesses as possible. So when you come into the diet, based on your symptoms and based on your past illnesses, you ought to have an idea of what your weaknesses are going to be, so that you can understand what you're going through. There are certain things that you can do dietarily and elimination wise, or if you go into herb route or whatever, that can maybe preemptively deal with a little bit of that kind of stuff. But overall, when you're dealing with things for the long haul, you just have to really just solidify your practice, get really good at understanding the transition, dealing with that, and just get on, get on the ride, and get on the plane ride. That. And that's something that I should make a separate video. I'll make a quick little mention of it now, but I rode on a plane a couple weeks ago when I took a trip to Sacramento, the wonderful people, African Americans for Balanced Health. Went down and did a Mucusless Diet seminar, and it was beautiful. It was just treated so well and taken care of. Took care of all the food situation that I'd recommend, that I requested, and I'd put together a menu for them to make some food so I could give people a mucusless meal on the Saturday seminar, and everything just really went smooth and went really good. But the plane situation, that traveling while practicing the mucusless diet is definitely something that you need to put thought into. You got to know your stuff, know what you're allowed to take with you on the plane, what you're not allowed to take, and that kind of thing. And originally, I didn't think I was allowed to take any food, but I needed to go to the TSA website. Do your favor and go look at their website, because they kind of have everything laid out as like what you're allowed to take, what you can't take. But so on the way there, the main thing you can't take with you past the TSA is liquid. So you can't take any liquid in the TSA. That's where you line up, and I thought the searches was gonna be a little worse. I thought they were gonna strip search you and all kinds of, they make you take your shoes off, and and I thought, and sometimes they pass you down. Sometimes you had to walk through the little X-ray thing, get exposed to all that radiation and all that kind of thing. But it wasn't that bad. Like, at least I was prepared for the worst, just because, be honest, the way I look, sometimes folks don't always, there's a lot of racism and things that I got to deal with, and so that was something that I was ready for. Just like, here, step aside here, come here, sir. Can we see all your stuff? But it didn't go down like that. They were actually real cool, and so that was good. But I didn't take anything, and I was trying to buy fruit. Once you get past the TSA, then you can buy whatever you want, and they'll have all kinds of food courts and stuff, and you can buy what you want and take it on the plane. And I was desperately looking for some fruit, because again, at that first time I didn't bring anything, because I didn't realize I was allowed to bring whole food with me. I could bring fruit and vegetables and put it in my bag. I just couldn't have liquid, so I wouldn't have been able to bring my own juice or something. So but I went there, and I was just kind of like, man, I'm trying to find some bananas. That was my thing. I wanted to eat bananas while I was traveling, so I wouldn't have to use the restroom a whole lot, because I just didn't want to be jumping up and down on the plane, excuse me, and you had to go, and that was not a thing I really wanted to do. And so I finally found some place. I'd ate some bananas before I went through the TSA, and then I wanted to have some for the plane, and I finally found a place. They were selling bananas for it's $1.10 per banana. I mean, it's ridiculous. When after you get through the TSA, they're just trying to basically rape you of your money. I mean, it's insane, the prices that they have there at the airport. But so I bought a couple bananas, and kind of brought that on the plane with me, and I bought a little juice, a little cooked juice. I figured I'd get to me the apple juices are kind of the least harmful of that kind of thing, because sometimes if you want something or need something, again, it's like survival mode, when you're traveling, and you got to do what you got to do. You can't take your juicer on the plane, and be juicing on the plane. And of course, until there's a lot of people with higher consciousness, it is going to be, they're just not going to have what we need, because there's no reason that the plane should not have fresh fruit on there to offer to the people as they go up and down and they offer the meals, and people eating these nasty meals around me and all this kind of stuff and all. I would have loved them being able to give me a banana or something, but like I said, I got my own. So but now my body really had to adapt to sort of that kind of flying thing. And it'd been years since I flew. I hadn't flew since I've been practicing the Mucusless diet, so it's been like 13-14 years when I flew over to Europe and did a tour of Europe when I was in high school, in a musical in a band, and so that was interesting. Just kind of taking off in that speed, and on that first flight, it was just rough. It was like got kind of lightheaded, and I was kind of just out of it. Every time the plane did anything, I could feel it. Just 'cause my body is so sensitive, and it's like this type of thing is so foreign to my body. It's just, it's kind of hard to describe. But every time the plane would move, my eyes could be closed. I don't see nothing, but my body just felt it. Just every time there was any kind of little movement up or down or a turn left or right or whatever, my body sort of felt it. And if the move was too rapid, then I'd kind of get lightheaded and kind of be like, oh man, And so that was really the first flight. Then the second flight was, each flight it was a little better. It was like my body was starting to kind of adapt. And kind of like, okay, well, this is something that we're doing now. This is you're going 500 miles an hour at these altitudes is what this, is something that's happening. And not a whole lot of transition into that. Just it's like 0 to 500. And it was interesting is that my phone has I have a GPS tracker thing that tracks my miles for like business and stuff if I'm driving, and it was still on, and so it was like calculating the plane ride like I was driving. So it was saying like 530 miles an hour. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to delete this. I'm not driving that fast. App, that the app should have known better than think that I'm in a car going 530 miles an hour. But so it was. So other than that, I mean, once we got to a stable altitude and we weren't going up and down, and we just sort of hit a spot and it was grooving with it, I had no problems. That was fine. Like once we got there and was just cruising, it felt fine. But yeah, particularly on the way up, that's when I kind of felt like, oh crap, just kind of felt out of it. And way down, not as bad, but still could feel it. Still could feel the shift, like blood change, like the blood shifting or something in my body and just doing something else. And of course, the ears, you're always like opening your mouth, But I don't chew gum anymore. Back years ago when I chewed gum, they always said to do that, like. Because that chewing gum's supposed to release the whatever in your head, all the change and pressure, creating that kind of I don't know the technical terminology of what is going on physiologically with the plane. That's actually something I meant to look that up, but the Wi-Fi wouldn't work, and that's another thing they get you with the Wi-Fi. If you want the good Wi-Fi on the plane, and you got to pay like $5 an hour, and they trick you saying, oh yeah, you'll have limited Wi-Fi, but that limited just means that you can look at the plane and see where. Information that they should give you for free anyway, but you don't have any decent access to any kind of Wi-Fi. unless you pay. And so it was one time I paid, but I was focused on getting ready for the seminar, But that was something that I would like to look up, is just the physiological ramifications of flying, and just to notice that, when you practice a mucusless diet, your body gets a lot more sensitive to phenomena, and certain things like that. So it's like, that's what we say. The pus in the mucus world was not made for us. It wasn't made with us in mind. So, for instance, I can sit here in total peace and feel probably so much better than anybody that's eaten some cheese and cheeseburgers and pizza, because the cheeseburger pizza person probably can't sit that long. In a lot of cases, they can't sit here and just kind of enjoy, like, this is pretty. Now I'm making a broad generalization, but I'm talking people my age. I'm talking because I've seen some elders that can put some mucus away and they're kind of chilling, but I'm talking people my age and younger. That you don't see them here. They could be here. There's more of them than me. They live right up there. A ton of kids and people my age. They're not down here sitting enjoying watching this lake. But so that mucus makes you want to like you can't sit still. It's I got to be doing something. I got to be or you either got to be watching something intense, because that's what's sad, is it's like you can't sit still unless you're being hypnotized by some kind of high octane mucus television programming or something, just something that's real, like keeps your attention where you're just, people getting killed and sex and all, you got to have that kind of stimulation. So when you clean yourself up, you get more sensitive to enjoy the simple things, just the air. Like, I'm feeling this air on my arm that's just delightful, and just the moistness in the air, the air quality, just breathing it in. Like then I smell little scents of flowers from over here and different. It's like it can be overwhelming. Your senses open up to such a high level where you can get that kind of enjoyment just walking outside. But the other side of that, when you talk about mucus world, is you get on something that's kind of artificial and totally unnatural, like a airplane, and your body don't know what to do with that, and you're real sensitive. Because I was looking around at people, nobody else was feeling what I was feeling. Like I could just tell that people wasn't even. And I remember when I flew, when I was eating that stuff, it was like, I didn't really, I felt this stuff in my head, but I didn't feel a lot of the stuff I'm describing now, as far as just that kind of sensitivity. So, the moral of the story is we just have to make provisions for ourselves. When we're practicing the mucusless diet and you're traveling, you have to put thought and effort into what you're going to bring with you. You got to be prepared. Like I said in Boy Scouts, be prepared. And so you want to pack what you need to pack. Don't overpack so that so things are too heavy. But, spend some time really thinking about what you need, and, what you can take with you, the best food situations for you. Maybe you want to try to fast. Brother Air would probably fast. When he travels, he usually likes to fast. I knew I didn't want to fast and travel with this. I wanted something, but I figured that fruit would be the level for me, and so something like the banana level, and that's what I chose, and I ate bananas to transition into that period. I was had some living mostly on bananas for a couple days up until then. So I don't call it a banana fast. I'm just eating bananas, not a big deal, but and not 30 of them. 2 bananas is a meal for me, But So by the time I got to the plane, it was, the banana vibe was happening. I was like, yeah, this is, I was into that. And but the point is, I just had a plan. You had to figure out your plan. Bananas might work. You might do apples. Maybe you want to bring salad stuff with you, or have some stalks of celery and or something like that, and eating some cucumbers on the plane. You just had to kind of figure it out. But the main thing is that you put thought into it and figure something out. But all in all, it was a great experience. Once my body adapted to the flight, it was cool. On the way home, I lucked out because I was on this. I had an economy seat, but there was and each plane was different because on some planes there was more room. The smaller planes had more room, even in the economy seats. But this big plane that I was on didn't have much room at all. But I lucked out. There was a empty seat in between me and this woman, and so it gave me the room that I needed, because that would have been a very uncomfortable 4.5 hour. That was one of them long flights. But both ways, I had to fly to another airport and then get off and then get back on another flight. And so the first flight was usually about a couple hours, and then the next one was like 4 or 5 hours. And so that was I learned a lot. I learned a lot about just the flying. There's an aspect to it historically that's fascinating to me, because it's been so normalized into our society. But airports are not old. This is a brand new technology. It's barely 100. I did look that up, but I forget the year. But the year of the first airport. But we're talking 100 years ago at the most. I think that maybe it was the 1920s or something, when you go back to the late 1800s with Orville Wright, and all that kind of thing. But it's not that old, but it's become so normalized, and it's just not even thought about. Like, yeah, I'm gonna jump on this plane and go over here. And that it just blows my mind, because I think of things I always put things in historical context, and to see how fast we've adapted to that type of technology, and that we just expect to be able to travel like that is it's just interesting. So the one thing about mucus in pus world is it moves fast, but it has to move fast because it doesn't last long, and that's the thing to really understand. But there's this whole desire for speed. I want to go faster. Gotta run faster. Gotta good faster. Gotta get. It's like, yeah, but where are you going? You just want to go. It doesn't matter. It's like they ain't really going anywhere. It's just they want to go nowhere fast, and that's kind of the mucus and pus anthem. Going nowhere fast. It's like it has to be fast. You don't want some extra. Even though the speed limit is 65 or 70 or whatever, I still want a car that can go 150, and. It's a whole mentality, but it's based on the pus and mucus eating. Like I say, take that out of the equation, and see what happens. So this has been a nice chat, and keep your eyes open and ears peeled. We got some stuff that's gonna be coming at you next several weeks, and so down below be sure to sign up for my email list, or the Insiders Club, because there's gonna be some special videos and content and stuff that's only available for the people that's in the Insiders Club. And yeah, just keep on transitioning, keep on doing what you need to do. Really looking forward to some folks that's gonna be making videos, and Bo Yee, shout out to Bo Yee, and I met her in Sacramento, and she just did a video, the lemon juice enema demonstration. That was serious, man. Y'all need to go check that video out. That was cool. And so she's gonna do a thing, a series where she follows her transition from a beginner, and onward. So something nobody's done that yet for Mucusless Diet, and I think it's important to have that, to have someone do that, because a lot of the time, by the time someone's really into the Mucusless Diet, the desire to do some of that kind of stuff is kind of gone. Your headspace goes into someplace else, and so yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how things roll. So thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, peace, love, and breath.
Pass the milk is right here.